older son, Hachamudos asher ita b'bayis, the beloved clothing, v'talbesh es Yaakov ben Cotton. She clothed Yaakov, her son. Veis oros gedoya izim, the hides from the goats, hilbisha al yodov, she put on his arms, v'alchelkas tzavarov, and on the on his neck. Vatiten es hamatami v'salechem asher osasa biyad Yaakov b'nav, she puts it in the hands of Yaakov. Okay? Vayomer el aviv, he says to his father. Vayomer, he said, Vayover el aviv, he comes to his father. Yomer aviv, father. Says as quick and brief as possible, so there should be no voice recognition. Vayomer hineni mi ata bini, who are you, my son? Vayomer Yaakov el aviv anochi Esav bechorecha. It is I, Esav, your firstborn. Asisi kasher tibarte, I did what you said. Kumna shva v'achla mitzedi v'avorta v'rachani nafshecha. Please eat, so that before you bless me. Now take a look at Rashi on Pasuk Yud Tes. It's the right column, fourth line from the top. Look what Rashi explains the word, I am Esav, your firstborn. Says Rashi, Anochi hu hamevilach. I am the one bringing it to you. The Esav hu bechorecha. Esav is your firstborn.
He didn't say lie.
He didn't say a lie. He says, who are you? He said, it is I, Esav, your firstborn, meaning it is I, comma, Esav is your firstborn. Okay? Right? Yeah. Oh, good. Definitely a lie. It's like when the teacher says to you, Kaplan, did you throw that paper airplane? Nope. I hurled it. I didn't throw it. There's a difference between, I flung it. I didn't throw it. There's a difference. Throwing is like this. This is a fling of a paper airplane. Right? So, I didn't lie. Okay, one second. Look further again, and then take a look at Pasuk 25. 4 lines from the bottom. And again, Yitzchak says, Vayomer atah zeh b'ni Esav. He says, are you my son Esav? Vayomer ani. He says, it is I. Take a look again. Rashi points out over there in Pasuk 24. Vayomer ani. Bottom line, left column, bottom line. Lo amar ani Esav. He didn't say it is I am Esav. Ela ani. He just said I am. Sure, I am. You am. Right? I didn't say I'm Esav. What's going on here? It's a lie. Come on, the man's blind. You're wearing wool. You're trying. The whole thing's a deception. This is where the expression. There's no doubt. This is where the expression to pull the wool over his eyes comes from. That's where the expression comes from. The man's blind. You're trying to deceive it. You're going in premeditated to steal something. You are lying, and everybody didn't lie. Oh, what's going on here? So the answer is like this. You see, several commentaries say this, that there are certain times in life you're allowed to lie, and here it's a mitzvah to lie. It's a prophecy. Your mother sent you in. He has to go rescue the birthright from Esav. But even when you're allowed to lie, you try to minimize the lie as much as possible. The lying can have a corrupting influence. The fact that you're allowed to lie doesn't mean it's carte blanche. Be careful. You're allowed to lie. Minimize it. So at least while you're minimizing it, you're reminding yourself, I really shouldn't be doing this if I had a choice. I have no choice. I have to do this. But hey, it's like if a guy has to eat treif. Guys, he's got an illness where he has to eat pork. Don't get into it. It's like, okay, it's mutter, and now that you have to make a bracha on it because you have to eat it. But it's not like, okay, I might as well, once I'm here, I might as well really enjoy it. Try to minimize it a little bit. It's not what I really want to be doing. Even though you're mechuyev to do it, you're obligated to do it at that moment. So Yaakov has to say the lie here. But if you're going to lie, try to minimize the lie. There's a halacha by Lashon Hara that for a beneficial purpose, you're allowed to say something derogatory about somebody. Somebody's about to marry somebody, the guy was in prison, right? But you also happen to not like the guy very much. Oh, good, make my day. I get to talk Lashon Hara about him, and it's a mitzvah too. What could be better? I get to disparage somebody in mitzvah for. No, your motivation has to be only because you have to do it, and then try to do it as quickly and efficiently and without slobbering over it. So Yaakov Avinu, because of the nature of lying, there's a danger that lying corrupts. Therefore, Yaakov Avinu it tries to minimize the lie as much as possible. Now, there's a very big question here. You see that twice. Yitzchak is saying, "Who are you?" Most of the time, when you're sure of who's standing in front of you, you don't keep saying, "Who are you?" Why does he even ask the first time? I just sent Esav out. He comes back and says, hi, Dad, I got the food. Who are you? What do you mean, who am I? What do you mean, who am I? And not only that, if you were Esav, what would your reaction be? My reaction would be, I am Esav, your son. My reaction would be, what do you mean, who am I? You just sent me out 5 minutes ago, didn't you? Why are you asking, who am I? You understand? That means that Yitzchak senses something is going on here. If that's the case, then that begs the question. So why is it that he goes ahead and gives the bracha? He never clarifies. Not only that, look at the next one. He says, bottom of the page, page 136. Yitzchak feels him. Then later he says, Vayomer lav Yitzchak avi gishona ushekalibi, approach and kiss me. Vayigash vayishak lo vayirach esreach begodov. He smells the clothing vayivarchehu. And he gives them the bracha, rei reach b'nikrech soda shebercha Hashem, like an apple orchard. And then he goes in and he gives them the bracha. Now, even before that, sorry, I skipped back on page 136. 6 lines from the bottom of the page, on 136. Vayigash Yaakov v'Yitzchak aviv v'yimusheo. Yaakov approaches Yitzchak, his father, and Yitzchak, how does the article translate it? He feels him. V'yimusheo, he touches him. Vayomer hakol kol Yaakov v'yadayim ed Esav. The voice is the voice of Yaakov, and the hands are the hands of Esav.
Even identifies
it. The commentaries say the Yaakov's speaking style was much more delicate than Esav's. Esav was very coarse, very blunt. Yaakov was very, very refined. I don't know. The voice is the voice of Yaakov. The hands are the hands of. That means you understand something's up here. And twice he asks him who you are, and then he goes ahead and plunges ahead and gives him the bracha anyway. Then finds out later he gave it to Yaakov, not to Esav. Well, what's going on? So the commentators say Yitzchak himself understood that if something's going on here, it could very well be something's meant to be going on here. And I don't know. And I don't know if I'm being deceived, I'm not being deceived. I don't know what's going on here. At a certain point, Yitzchak says, you know what? I'm going to turn this over to the Ribono Shel Olam. If this is what's supposed to be happening, I'm going to give the bracha to whoever's standing in front of me. In other words, you have another question here. The other question is, let's say somebody decides to give Alex a bracha. A blind man decides to give Alex a bracha. So he's about to put his hat on Alex's head, and I push Alex out of the way, and I sneak in, and I get the bracha. He says, you should become rich and even richer, right? And I got your bracha, Alex. I walked off with it. What does that mean? The bracha wasn't meant for me. How can you give somebody a wrong bracha? It has to be that the person giving the bracha was intending to giving it to whoever's standing in front of him. Oh, you intended. So why would Yitzchak intend if he suspects he's being deceived? The answer is that at the point that Yitzchak is not sure, Yitzchak says, look, it's the voice of Yaakov, hands of Esav. He says it is, but he came back awfully fast with the food. I'm not sure. You know what? I'm going to step out of the picture and let the Ribono Shel Olam take over. Whoever's in front of me, I'm giving the bracha to with a full heart. However brachas work, whatever that is, that's a big subject. But whatever brachas are and however brachas work, I'm giving the full bracha to whoever's in front of me because that's what the Ribono Shel Olam wants to put in front of me. And therefore he gives Yaakov that bracha. Yeah, go ahead, Yeshua.
I was thinking the same thing, but then someone showed me Pasuk 33. It says, then Isaac trembled in very great perplexity.
Great. Now we're going to get to the kicker. Okay. So he gives them a whole bracha. Your enemies are going to bow down. Your brother's going to bow down to you, and you're going to be in charge of all the brachas. Okay? Pick it up in Pasuk Lamed. Now we're going to get to there. This is one of the most phenomenal concepts, phenomenal ideas I've ever heard in Chumash. It's my absolutely phenomenal. It says like this. Vayikasher kila Yitzchak, 6 lines from the top. Vayikasher kila Yitzchak levarches Yaakov. Yitzchak finished blessing Yaakov. Vayhi ach yotzo Yaakov. Ispnei Yitzchakov. Yaakov just left. The Esav achiv bamitzed. Esav was coming in from the hunt. Vayaz gamu matamim. He made food. Vayave la'aviv. He walks in. Vayomer la'aviv yakum aviv. Arise, father. V'yochal mitzeid beno. Eat from the venison. Eat from what I've hunted. Ba'avur tevarchani nefshach, that you should bless me. Now you're Esav. The minute you come in, look how this plays out. Vayomer lo Yitzchak aviv mi ata. Who are you? If you're Esav at that moment, how do you feel? Why is he asking me who I am? Why is he asking me who I am? Vayomer ani bincha b'chorcha Esav. I'm your firstborn Esav. If they throws in ani bincha b'chorcha Esav, Esav smells a rat too. I'm your firstborn Esav. What do you mean? right? And he understands that something's happening. Vayecherad Yitzchak charoda gedola ad ma'od. Yitzchak trembles. Vayomer, mi efo hu hatzad side, so who is the other hunter? Vayaveli va'ochal bikol b'terem tovo v'avarcheu. I ate before you came in and I blessed him. Gam baruch yeh. Indeed, he should be blessed. Oh, well, I mean, that's a strange reaction for somebody who's upset about what he just did. Who was that guy who came in and took your bracha? He should be blessed. It doesn't make any sense. For a person who's upset, I mean, if I was Yitzchak and I was upset, I'd say, who was it that came in that? No good, Nick, I hope he should be blessed. So let me tell you what the commentaries say. The commentaries say that there's a medrash over here that Yitzchak and Esav had a little conversation. And Esav says afterwards, hey, that's the second time he's cheated me. And Yitzchak said, why? What was the first time? The first time I brought in for some lentils, I sold him my birthright. And Yitzchak goes, oh, you sold your birthright? Gam baruch yeh, he should be blessed. Okay, then I give it to the right guy. That's what the Medrash says.
Those who cursed you shall be cursed. So he curses him, he gets cursed.
Oh, that's true too. Yitzchak can't curse because he already gave him a bracha. That's a curse. Very good, very good, very good. He's already, I can't curse him now, too late. Okay, so I'll tell you a pshat that I heard. Rav Hirsch says this. And he asks a question that most children would like to ask. And his answer is phenomenal. He says, as far as costumes go, this is not a very elaborate costume. You got some, what do you call it on your arm? You got something. Yitzchak is, okay, he's blind, but he's still Yitzchak. He's a sharp man. What if the thing, he touches you and it comes sliding off your neck? Hey, what happened to your arm? Your arm's coming off, And what if he goes high, touches low, and there's no hair over there? Well, wait, 1,000,001 things could happen over here. This is not a very elaborate disguise. And then on top of it, it's Yaakov. Who's Yaakov? Who's the Yaakov is the what do you call it? Yaakov is the one who's not wily and sharp as far as Yitzchak knows. So what happens? Esav comes in. He says, who are you? It's me, Esav. What does Yitzchak realize at that moment?
He was cheated.
He realizes he gave the bracha to Yaakov. He also realizes he was deceived by Yaakov. And he also realized he's deceived by Yaakov with a rather flimsy costume. The whole point of the deception was the deception. That means Rivka is at the moment of truth right now. Yitzchak wants to give a bracha to Esav. Rivka has to figure out some way to show her, you've been deceived all along. You've been deceived by Esav. What's the ultimate proof? You were just deceived by a Yaakov with a flimsy costume. And he deceived you. So what's been happening to you all along, Yitzchak? That's why Yitzchak, Vayecherad Yitzchak, you know what he's trembling about? I almost blew it for eternity. I almost gave the right bracha to the wrong person. I was saved at the last moment. Gam baruch yeh, good, let him have the bracha. The trembling is not because of Esav. The trembling is because I almost misdid the entire package over here. And the entire deception was to show Yitzchak you could be deceived. Oh, if I could be deceived by Yaakov, so what's Esav been doing to me all along? Like my wife has been telling me. What's Esav been doing to me all along? And therefore, Yitzchak vayecher, Yitzchak, he gives the bracha to Esav. That's what Rav Hirsch says. Gives the bracha to Yaakov. Now, so Esav gets upset, and he asks for a bracha. And then on the next page, Yitzchak says, don't you have a bracha for me? So Yitzchak says, yeah, I'll give you a bracha. I'll give you a bracha. Now take a look at the bracha he gives him. Pasuk Lamed Tes, page 140, 7 lines from the top. 7 lines from the top. Vayayin Yitzchak aviv, vayomer elov. Hine mishmane ha'aretz yeh moshavecha, you'll sit in the richest part of the land. Umitala shemayim el, you have the dew from heavens. Rashi says, zu Italia shel Yavan. Italy, very rich, that's where the grapes come from. That's where all the good zachen. Italy, you have the Romans were Italy. Romans are it's the Roman Empire, the descendants of Esau. He calls it Italy of Greece. Apparently Italy took, I guess, I don't know history real well, but I guess the Greeks, after the Greeks, the Romans took over. So the Romans took over that part of Greece. I guess Greece owned Italy till the Romans took over, whatever it was. Zu Italia shel Yavan. But then he says something a little more puzzling. Ve'al charbecha ticha, you live by your sword. Which are those that say, well, the Romans were the ones who developed warfare, right? You'll live by your sword. Ve'sachicha tavad, you'll serve your brother. Okay, now, the question becomes like this. I mean, a guy who lives by the sword, I would have said, if I was giving the bracha, I would have said, you'll conquer by the sword. You'll conquer by the sword. Why is it you live by the sword? Live by the sword, you die by the sword. You're going to live by the sword and die by the sword. You can live by the sword, die by the sword. Okay, so we know that the Asavs of the world, they live by the sword. In other words, we'll do everything diplomatically except if I'm stronger. Diplomacy means when I decide because I'm stronger. That's how diplomacy works in the Asav world. Yes, there's a United Nations, and everybody has to do whatever the United Nations says, unless the United States says no. Because, we're stronger. If you guys don't get in line, we'll nuke you. So yes, we'll do everything. Yeah, that's living by the sword. That's living by the sword. There's even more in that. Asav living by the sword means that's his life. That's his thrill. That's his excitement. His life is the sword. In Judaism, do you know that there's no word for adventure in Judaism? There's no word for fun in Judaism. Can you believe that? In modern Hebrew, there's a word called kef, but that's pretty pathetic. Because that's kef is a kef, right? There's no word for fun. There's no word for adventure. Because Jews are not adventurers. We don't go, we're not looking for thrills. Do you know why that is? I'm going to tell you a very deep insight into human nature. Why do people do things like mountain climbing, bungee jumping, anything that carries a risk of death?
Adrenaline.
What's that?
The adrenaline.
Why do you need the adrenaline? Why do you need the adrenaline? I remember reading in Reader's Digest about a guy who had a teary farewell to his wife and 3 children as he went with a friend of his to go conquer Everest or something. Hey, listen, buddy, it's not like anybody's forcing you to do it. You could stay home and take your kids to the park instead. No. He's going off to conquer Everest. Maybe he'll come back, maybe what? Why is he doing that? Why is he doing
That's the only thing that makes it happy anymore.
The answer is that the emptier you are, why is it that even amusement parks, you get on a ride, and after the ride, you get off there and oh, am I glad to be on solid ground. Hey, listen, you paid to get on that ride. It's like somebody was forcing you up there. The answer is any type of adventure that carries with it a risk of death, and an amusement park is at an artificial level. It's more simulated, but it's still, you feel like, wow, that was really dangerous on a supersonic dinner spinner that comes within 2 inches of the earth, and goes flying on the ground, it comes flying around. You feel like, ooh, whew. What? Why? It gives you an appreciation for life. The emptier you are, the more you need something that's a near-death experience, even if it's not really near death. But at least the element of death was there. Oh, good, it's great to be alive, because the alternative is worse. A Jew who is fulfilled with life, based on your pursuits fulfill you. I don't need near-death experience. It's the contrary. Death could cost me too much. It's too risky to die. I got too much to accomplish to get involved in something that could cause death. What was the name of that guy? The guy who got stung by the stingray. He got killed by the stingray. He was this guy who wrestled with all sorts. Steve Irwin. What was his name? It was Crocodile Hunter. Crocodile Hunter. Okay, and the guy when he got stung, he wasn't even wrestling with the stingray. Stingray just happened to flip the tail up and nail him right in the chest. But he was in dangerous areas, right? Some of us don't go swimming with our stingrays. Right, so he happened to be where there are stingrays. There are no stingrays in my bathtub, right? And once in a while in the mikveh there are payas, but nothing else. There's no stingrays in the payas. So if you're there, listen, what are you looking for? What do you want? So the answer is we don't need that. We're not looking to wrestle with snakes. We're not looking to wrestle with we're not looking to do dangerous things because life is too valuable to us, and we're very, very happy being alive. The emptier you are, the more you need something to give you what you call that adrenaline rush, which is absolutely correct. What do you need?
What if you just like it?
You do like it because of the adrenaline rush.
I don't know. I like water rides more because I like.
To a certain extent, obviously, to a certain extent, we need a little fun in life. I have gone inner tubing myself. I have done inner tubing where it's very, very safe. Not on nowhere where there are cliffs or what do you call it? Basically at a kid's water park. But I've been in it. So we need a little fun in life. You go play ball, whatever it is. But anytime it crosses a certain line, psychologically, that means that there's a need to have that. Oh, good, I'm alive because I'm empty. That's what really is underlying it all. Now, again, I'm not a psychologist. I don't know at what level and how they'll explain it. Bottom line is, al char b'chatichya, you live by the sword. That's your thrill. But I want to take it a step further. because this thought is a little bit more unpleasant. I once met a gang member in Chicago. It was a Jewish guy who was a gang member. So he was a rough character. And I asked him, there was a Saturday night. I asked him what they're doing on Saturday night. He said, well, we're going to go out with this, with the chasing with the girls, or with the drinking, and we might even have a rumble. His eyes lit up when he said that. The girls and the drinking, the usual. But we might even have a rumble. Oh, now we're talking. In his eyes, he was like, okay, if there's that's al-char b'chatichya. I live by the sword. That gives me my chiyus. That's where I get my pleasure. Now pay attention carefully. You're football fans, I'm a football fan too. If you watch a football game, I used to watch football, I like the athleticism. If you're looking for the hit, ooh, that's a good hit. His helmet twisted right, his head twisted left, and it almost came off, right? Ooh, did you see that hit? Or you watch a boxing match, snap, wow, the sweat, he smacked the sweat off of him, boom, boom, like in Rocky, and you're like, wow, what a shot, That means you got some Esav in you. That's the Esav in us. That means we haven't got, chas v'shalom, you can say chas v'shalom all you want, say any Aramaic words you want. And the bottom line is that if we're interested in it, that's we've got some al-char b'chatichya. That's exciting us. A person watches a boxing match, you should be nauseated. You shouldn't get excited over it. If a person's watching for the athleticism, okay, that's something else, even though that's an element of Esav too. You're watching it for the hit. You're watching for, ooh, did you see that hit? Boom, smack. You can't wait to see the hit. That means we got some Esav, even more. I remember in 91, when was it? The Gulf War. So there were people sitting in America watching the Gulf War in, 1991. America is trying all their new weapons. And, in Iraq. And they're going through, and people are sitting around with corn chips and pop, and, they're sitting around watching. Wow, he took it through the window. Watch, he knocked down the whole building. Hey, give me some of those pretzels, will you? This is unbelievable. Yeah, that means you're getting, destruction is getting you excited. You're getting excited by destruction. That means you get some Esav in you. You got some Esav in you. We all have a little bit. We may have more. That's our job in life, is to remove that Esav influence. Okay? Now, go back for 1 second. I want to show you in the in one of the psukim what the Gemara says. Take a look back on page 136. Do you see 5 lines from the bottom? When Yitzchak says to Yaakov, "Hakol kol Yaakov," the voice is the voice of Yaakov. Vayadayim yedei Esav. Page 136, 5 lines from the bottom. 136, 5 lines from the bottom. He says, Hakol, right at the beginning of the line. Hakol kol Yaakov, the voice is the voice of Yaakov, Yadayim yedei Esav. So on this pasuk, the Gemara says that Yitzchak is saying a prediction for history. When the voice is the voice of Yaakov, the hands will not be the hands of Esav. That means Torah will protect us. When Torah is weakened, Torah study, tefillah, anything we do, then the hands of Esav are stronger. Hakol kol Yaakov, the voice is the voice of Yaakov. When the voice is the voice of Yaakov, then the hands of Esav won't harm us. There's only one problem with that. That's not what the pasuk says. Yeah. The pasuk says, Hakol kol Yaakov, the voice is the voice of Yaakov, and simultaneously, V'hayadayim yedei Esav. It sounds like to the contrary. When our voice is the voice of Yaakov, then Esav's hands will be the hands of Esav. How could the Gemara say, no, it means the opposite. When the voice is voice, it won't be the hands of Esav. Good question, right? It's a good question. Okay, the most basic answer is that the vav in Hebrew, the connecting vav, could also be understood as or. The voice is the voice of Yaakov, or it'll be the hands of Esav. Remember, a vav could be and or could be or. But the Vilna Gaon says like this. You notice anything peculiar in the way that pasuk is written? Look at the first hakol. It says hakol kol Yaakov. Anything notice anything peculiar? Anything odd?
Yeah, it's missing a vav.
It's missing a vav in the first kol. When you read the word kol without a vav, it changes it. If it was not vowelized and you saw kuf lamed, what would you call it? How would you read it? Kal, which means what? Light, lighter. And therefore the Vilna Gaon says what's written here is hakal kol Yaakov. When the voice of Yaakov becomes lighter, then v'hayadayim yedei Esav, then the hands of Esav take over. Hakal kol Yaakov. When the voice is the voice of Yaakov is lighter, that means it's weakened. When Torah study is weakened, then you know what the result's going to be? V'hayadayim yedei Esav. Then the hands of Esav are going to strike us down. But if the voice of Yaakov is strong, that's the protection for the Jewish people. Okay? Now, go on to the next page. Let me tell you a little medrash. The medrash says a story about two men. One was named Yossi Meshisa, and the other one was a man named Yakim Ish Sroros. Now, the Medrash says about these two men, apparently they lived at the time of the Greek exile. So it's probably the time of Hanukkah. Yossi Meshisa was a turncoat. He was a Jew, a renegade Jew who had gone over to the other side. And when the Greeks went invaded the Beis Hamikdash, they said to him, okay, you can go in and take anything you want. He was helping out the Greeks. He said, take anything you want. So he walked in there and he helped himself to the menorah, the nice golden menorah. So they said to him, listen, that's for the king. You can't take a menorah. A commoner can't take a menorah. Take something else. So Yosef just says, listen, I've transgressed and rebelled against my God once. I'm not going to do it again. Fellas, I'm no longer on your side. So they took him and they strapped him to what do you call it? And they sawed off his body. And each time they sawed off a limb, he just kept yelling out, I got it coming to me for rebelling against my God. In other words, he did tshuva. He did tshuva. After a life of rebellion, he did tshuva. Okay? Then the Medrash says there's a man named Yakim Ish Sroros. Now, this Yakim Ish Sroros was a nephew of Yossi ben Yoezer. Does anybody know where Yossi ben Yoezer's name appears? Do you ever learn Pirkei Avos, where it says Yossi ben Yoezer and Yossi ben Yochanan? They were the zugos, they were the pairs in Pirkei Avos. Yossi ben Yoezer had a nephew named Yakim Ish Sroros. So listen to this medrash. Yakim Ish Sroros was a renegade. He went over to the other side. Yossi ben Yoezer was condemned to death. And they put Yossi ben Yoezer on the condemned man's horse. Apparently there's a certain horse. They put the condemned man, they're riding him off to the gallows. In the meantime, Yakim Ish Sroros is riding a fine stallion that the upper the Greek aristocrats used to ride. And he says to his uncle, look at the horse your master has put you on, the condemned man's horse. Look at the horse my master has put me on. So Yossi ben Yoezer says to him, well, if that's the way God rewards sinners like you, imagine the reward for the righteous people like me. So he says, yeah, but no one was more righteous than you, uncle. Look what's happening to you. So he says to him, if that's the way God punishes the righteous like me, imagine how he's going to punish sinners like you. The Gemara said his words penetrated like the venom of a snake, and then his nephew Yakim erected some sort of contraption where he could jump off, hang himself, fall on a sword, have the entire structure collapse on him into a fire, so he could fulfill the four forms of Misas Bezin, the four deaths that Bezin gives out at one time on himself. He erects this contraption, and he somehow manages to jump on the sword in the fire, and the thing falls on him, and he hangs himself all at the same time. In a heavenly voice, when Yossi ben Yoezer sees an image of Yakim Ish Sroros being welcomed in the gates of Gan Eden, of paradise. He says, one moment, he got there one moment ahead of me. Became about tshuva. He became about tshuva. You know, I guess he understood that. Why is he allowed to commit suicide? I don't know. But whatever the answer is, he died as about tshuva. Now, why did I bring up this medrash? Take a look on top of page 138. Vayigash vayishak lo, Yaakov approaches and he kisses him. Vayorach es reach bigodov, Yitzchak smells the smell of his clothing. Vayivorchehu. Top of page 138. Top line on page 138. He smells the smell of his clothing. Says the Medrash, that word begodov could also be read as bogdov. You know what a boged is? A boged is a traitor. Begida in modern Hebrew is treason. An adulterer is called a boged. He smells the smell of his traitors. What does that mean? By the way, do you know why a beged? What is a beged called?
I think it's a French, like, bread.
That's a baguette. That's a baguette. That's a baguette. Beged is clothing. Beged. Why is beged? What is the connection between beged and boged?
Doesn't beged also mean like to go against?
Yeah, boged means to rebel, to a traitor. What's the connection between beged, which is a garment, and boged, which is to be a traitor?
Without clothes,
Because if you don't put the
Yes,
tzitzit on it-
yes. Clothing only came to be after the first begida in history. The first treason or the first traitor in history is who? Is Adam Arisha and Adam. That's where clothing comes in. Beged and boged is the same thing. That's where he got the clothing. Otherwise, they wouldn't have needed clothing. That's where the word levush, which means a garment, lovesh, levush comes from the Hebrew word busha, which is shame. It covers your shame. They wouldn't have needed. There was no shame before the clothing. So Alex raises his eyebrows. What has that got to do with Yitzchak smelling Yaakov's clothing? And the answer is that what Yitzchak is doing is he's sensing that in Jewish history there are going to be bogdim. They're going to be traitors. But you know what? These traitors are eventually going to do tshuva. Even the worst of Jews, like Yakim Ish Stroros and Yossi Meshisa, they could be traitors their whole life, but there's always hope for them. And therefore, he smells the smell of even the Jewish traitors. You know what? Even they deserve a bracha. Even they deserve a bracha. Because even Jewish traitors through history are going to have, there's never going to be an end of the hope. He gives them a bracha, a yorach esreach bogdav, dalti begadav, says the Medrash, al tikre begadav ela bogdav. This refers to Jewish traitors, obviously not the plain meaning, that's what the Medrash says. The Yitzchak senses at some level there are going to be Jews in history who deserve the bracha, the Jewish renegades in history. Yeah.
Their own sons.
What's that?
Jacob's own sons.
Jacob's own son. Why?
Because of Yosef.
Oh, right. They're going to be, right. They're going to be, you're going to have it. It starts right here. Very good. So even Jewish traitors are at that level. Even Jewish traitors are at that level. Okay.
I think it was like referring to like Jacob actually being a traitor and like.
No, the Medrash doesn't say that. The Medrash just says that this is a sense of something later in history. Again, remember, even after he knows that it's Yaakov, he still ratifies the bracha. Even afterwards, he ratifies the bracha. Okay. Now, Esav is not happy, and then Esav vows that he's going to kill Yaakov. So Rivka sends Yaakov away. Now, if you look towards the end of the parsha, take a look at Perek Chav Zayin Pasuk Mem Vav. Page 140. Page 140, right in the middle of the page. Vayistom Esav es Yaakov, right in the smack in the middle of the page on page 140, Pasuk Mem Aleph. Vayistom Esav es Yaakov al habrocha asher bercho aviv. Esav hates Yaakov because of the bracha his father gave him. Vayomer Esav belibo. Esav says in his heart, Yikruvu yemei Esav evel aviv hargas Yaakov achi. My father's death will come, and then when that happens, I'm going to kill my brother Yaakov. Do you know where else we find an expression? Somebody says something in his heart.
Shem.
Okay, it does Vayomer Hashem alibo. That's in Parshat Noach. Very good. Later on in Megillah Esther, Vayomer Haman belibo. Haman says in his heart, who could the king possibly want to honor other than me? Vayomer Haman belibo. Haman's thinking in his heart. Esav, Haman is Amalek. Amalek comes from Esav. This is the Esav characteristic. Who's Esav? What animal is Esav compared to? Esav's compared to a pig. Of the 4 animals, there are only 4 animals that have one of the 2 kosher signs. 3 of the 4 chew their cud, but don't have split hooves. The pig is the only animal that has split hooves, but doesn't chew its cud. Esav is compared to a pig. Chewing the cud, split hooves represents, here everybody, look at me. I'm kosher. And inside you're rotten. Vayomer Esav belibo. Esav says, in his heart. In my heart. Externally, have a nice day. But inside, it's rotten. Haman, the arch-descendant of Esav, also. Vayomer Haman belibo. That's the tendency. Inside, I got all sorts of schemes and plots. Externally, polite, sweet. You know what Israelis are called? Israelis are called sabras. Do you ever hear that? Why are called sabras? Yeah. It's a sweet fruit, but it's got a lot of thorns. Right? That's what it's called. It's like it's not smooth. It's not smooth. But you know what the difference is? The difference is when I was in Esav land, I was once in Columbus, Ohio in winter. And I was driving my brother-in-law's car, and I skidded on the ice. It was winter. I ended up perpendicular to the street. The front tires were in the curb, facing the sidewalk, and perpendicular to the street. I'm standing there figuring out how am I going to get my car out. Cars started driving by. And, they look, nobody bothered to stop. Nobody bothered to stop. The same people, if you're in their store, they say, have a nice day. You have a nice day. I could just hear them in the car driving by. Have a nice day. Nobody bothered to stop. In Israel, what would happen to you?
3 or 4 people pull over.
They'd pull over for you. You'd have more help than you needed. A guy told me, you ask somebody for directions on the street, 3 people will stop to give you directions. You'll leave, and they'll still be arguing what's the best direction they should have given you. They'll still be arguing, well, what's the best? Because, okay, a little, maybe on the outside it could use some polishing up, but when it comes down to it, push comes to shove, that's who you're going to rely on. That's the difference between Esav. Esav says, I hate him. Esav keeps it in his heart. That's the nature of Esav. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Michelle, we're going to go out to Parshat Vayetze.